Mr. Epstein, recently I toured a company called Radiant, met with the CEO, Doug Bernauer, who is an amazing individual, who was challenged by Elon Musk to help to colonize Mars, and came to the conclusion the only way to provide electricity, get electricity to Mars was through micronuclear. I also met Isaiah Taylor with Velar Atomics, which is an amazing, very creative company that's using carbon sequestration in their process to combine it with other, like with oxygen or hydrogen, in order to create jet fuel, which is just mind-blowing. You get electricity and the byproduct is jet fuel. With that being said, can you speak to how the regulatory process for these guys who are doing very creative, very innovative stuff might be stifling to that mindset?
Yeah, I admire these guys for trying, because it's so difficult to do things. I mean, for all the reasons I mentioned, the licensing process, it can be difficult to test things. The whole linear no threshold in ALARA, as low as reasonably achievable. So all these dogmas, as I said, can be changed, and it'll just radically open the frontier for innovation, where companies like these can go very quickly from idea to action. Right now, there's just an enormous gap between idea to action. One other thing that needs to change, I think, is the cultural discussion of nuclear. We heard from Ranking Member Frost and I think some others that like 3 Mile Island was the problem, but as Scott Perry pointed out, like 3 Mile Island is not fundamentally a problem. Like the fact that the worst nuclear accident we've had is something that killed nobody, that should be celebrating nuclear. So we need to stop demonizing nuclear like The Simpsons did. We need to recognize it's fundamentally safe. It's not safe primarily because of regulation. It's safe because the material cannot explode like combustion can.
Thank you. One last question, Mr. Smith. When I speak to them, they refer to the 18-month period. Can you describe the dynamic of getting the permitting process done, and why companies that are ready to go today are having to go through an 18-month period?
Which 18-month period?
For review.
So I think there's a lot of opportunities to reduce review times. One example is actually the mandatory hearings that Alex mentioned in his testimony as well. So those kinds of reviews don't involve input from the public, and they already cut times from 6 months to 3 months by moving from in-person oral hearings to written testimony and submissions. And there's a lot of opportunities to cut those down and see the kinds of things like Governor Cox wants to see in Utah of, we can build something by July 4th, 2026. We can have test reactors that we don't push companies to the Philippines or outside of the US to test and experiment what used to be and started as an American technology.
Thank you.